In people, Rum Runner here with another reaction and post-match review. Today we have Brighton versus Arsenal. Today again, I think it's a really big day for Arsenal, Arsene Wenger and the players after abysmal performance against Man City in the cup final. I think they will have to come out of the traps quick and get a big win today. Brighton, though, currently on a decent run of form, and they'll be obviously wanting to continue that. With regards to Arsenal's lineup today, nice to see Callum Chambers in there today. I think he is a really good player and needs to get more time on the field. Defensive-wise, I do think he's better than Bellerin, but for today's game, I don't think he was the right choice, simply because Izquierdo, Knockout or March very, very quick players, and Chambers probably doesn't have the pace to keep up with them, I don't believe. So for me today, the key players before the game, I'd have picked out Jack Wilshere for Arsenal, simply because you could see the frustration on his face throughout Arsenal's defeat to Man City. He looked really up for the game there, wanted to get the ball forward quickly, the only one who showed any real passion or pride for that Arsenal side. For Brighton, Ezekiel Shalotto, a player who has been somewhat of a nice surprise in a very average Brighton side this season. He gets up and down that right wing all game. Never looks like he's tiring. Does everything: attack, defend. A credit to football with his work rate and attitude, really. So let's get into the review, really. So that was before the match. That was my thoughts there. So the first few minutes, as I thought, Arsenal would come out looking for an early goal with a couple of attempts from Iwobi and Ozil, one being blocked and the other one going over the bar. The fight seemed to be there for the first 5 minutes. Callum Chambers putting in a couple of strong tackles, along with Koscielny putting out that feeling that they were really up for it, and Brighton really struggled to get out of their own half in the first five. As I say, Arsenal looked like they really wanted it, but Brighton holding firm at the back early doors. First attack, the Brighton managed it came from that man Shalotto bursting down the right wing, looking to get a cross in, which ended up in a nice corner for Brighton. 6 minutes in relieving the pressure there on Brighton's defensive line, and a chance to catch their breath from that heavy defending. Corner came in, and I'm not sure what on earth Czech was doing. Made a total mess of things. Came for the ball at the corner, leaving the goal gaping, really not getting anywhere near the ball. Duffy beating Iwobi in the air, and Dunk left to smash the ball home for 1-0, and that was only 7 minutes in it. So realistically, a nightmare start for Arsenal. I'm sure. To be fair, I'm not sure what to say. What is going on at Arsenal? They can't seem to defend or attack these days, and the midfield tends to be getting passed by. Big question is it time for Wenger to go? I'm not too sure. I'm on the fence of that. I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. But after the goal, game kicked off again. Arsenal kept just giving the ball away, and Shalotto gets on the ball again, and from a lovely back heel from Knockout, won another corner. This time nothing came of it, and Arsenal managed to clear it. However, they lose the ball again, and Brighton, with a boosted confidence, got their tails up and attack again, with Gross having a pop-up goal, forcing a save from Czech, and he had to put the ball behind for another corner. Brighton held strong defensively. They were defensively wise early door and being switched on from the start. That had really helped the cause so far in the game, and so we're only barely 10 minutes in, but you could see where that is. You can already see Jack Wilshere as well imploding with frustration. I can only feel for the Arsenal fans in the stands, but I do have to say it could be worse. Try being a Coventry City fan. That's what I am. Tell me that, and then you can tell me your club is in a bad situation when you've gone through what we have, when you've only got a manager in the Premier League every week, playing in the Premier League every week, seeing Champions League or Europa League football, doing well in cups, having good cup runs. And spending money on players. We don't have any of that, nothing. So I'd calm yourself down if I were you. Anyway, the next few minutes, Brighton pressure fell back a bit, and Arsenal managing to get the ball a bit more. You can see Brighton had gone into a more counter-attack play, tried to cement that 1-0 lead for a little bit. For me, watching the game, you can clearly see Iwobi isn't good enough for Arsenal, and I think he would struggle to get into the sides of the likes of Crystal Palace or Watford. But it was a very exciting opening 15 minutes. 4 corners for Brighton, 2 for Arsenal. Good goal from Brighton's Lewis Dunk. So Brighton would have been happy with that start realistically. 16 minutes in, again, Brighton getting on the counter-attack with the pace of Izquierdo on the left flank, which led to another corner, which gave Lewis Dunk another chance to get another goal with a free header, but unfortunately he put that one over the bar. A few minutes later, Iwobi gets the ball in the defending half right outside his own box, and as I said before, this guy just is not good enough. He gets closed down by Glenn Murray, who really isn't one of the quickest players ever. Iwobi panicked, tries to turn inside and give the ball a good booting up the field. But by the time he actually does turn, Knockout, who's 10 yards away from him at the start of the turn, manages to close him down, block Iwobi's clearance. Then Brighton are through on in goal, and Cech had to make a good save from Knockout. Arsenal still, after that, still look like they're trying to get their bearings in the game. A lot of wayward passes, which we don't tend to associate with Arsenal, but they are looking a very different side of late. Not really sure what's going on. Over the next 5 minutes, though, in front of goal was fairly quiet from both sides. Nothing much happening until the ball comes in from a cross from Gross, I think it was, towards Glenn Murray. The cross came quite far out, so it should have given Arsenal's defenders plenty of time to readjust, get themselves into position, because it wasn't exactly a drilled cross. It was quite a floaty one, but still unsure of what Mustafi was doing, because that is not how you defend at all. Glenn Murray powered the header down. Unfortunately, Cech couldn't get down quick enough for it. So, kids out there, if you're a striker and you're not scoring many goals with your header, watch a bit of Glenn Murray, because this is a perfect example of how to score a headed goal. Right, moving forward, coming into 30 minutes, the pace of the game again slows down. I think Brighton's counter play is working a treat as they're really picking their moments to attack Arsenal. Arsenal can't really seem to handle it. They're with Arsenal's attacks, they are really lacking any conviction and seem to be trying to walk the ball into the net rather than having a pop. They all look really scared to shoot. A couple of minutes later, Arsenal get a corner as the ball comes in. Not one Arsenal player tries to attack the ball. They really already looked like the game was lost, and they wanted it to end. Bit embarrassing, I have to say. Going into the last 5 minutes of the first half, Arsenal just didn't seem to want to be there, and Brighton looked happy to see the half out. 42 minutes in, though, to my surprise, and probably a lot around the stadium, even the Arsenal fans, I imagine, because on the TV you couldn't hear much noise from them when Arsenal scored. The ball ended up in Brighton's net. It looked a very blasé goal, but a goal nonetheless. A good, decent pass from Granit Xhaka inside the box, who found Aubameyang, and he flicked the ball past Brighton's keeper Matthew Ryan. Flick it looked very, very half-hearted. Luckily, it went in for him. And then we came to half-time. So at half-time, I wrote down my thoughts of what was happening. watching the game, I saw quite a few signs in the crowd in Arsenal's half of the ground of Wenger out, which I can honestly say is pitiful from Arsenal fans. He's done so much for the club and the English game, and you want to treat him like he's easily replaceable for you. One thing I'd like to draw Arsenal fans' attention. You have to think when Alex Ferguson left Man United, what happened? It took them a good few years for them to get in the top four, and that's only this season now. I mean, you're finishing top five, maybe six this year, and you've been doing that consistently. You got to think: are you willing to go a couple of seasons without any Champions League or Europa League football? Are you willing to do that? It's not like the owners of Arsenal spend cash willy nilly like the likes of Chelsea and Man City. Arsenal fans who want Wenger out, they live in a fantasy land, as if you're gonna Wenger will go this week and you're gonna get the best manager that's ever walked the earth come and manage Arsenal, and you'll become the best team overnight. It won't happen. So you've got to think what you actually want. Also, the only player, again, I could see wanting to get forward for Arsenal was Jack Wilshere, always looking for a forward pass. If there wasn't, they would try and drive the ball, laying it off for somebody else, but then the other person would only go backwards. I think Jack Wilshere, he's not fitting into the Arsenal's team at the moment because he wants to attack. I think he would fit nicely in a Liverpool team. I think they should do a swap for Jordan Henderson because he loves a backwards or sideways pass. He doesn't look to go forward, so he'd fit nicely into that Arsenal side right now. So that was my half-time thoughts. So moving into the second half. Now, second half kicked off, though I thought I would see a little bit more urgency from Arsenal in the second half, but nothing. Do the players... it made me ask the question, do the players no longer want to play for Wenger, or is it that they just aren't good enough together? There's just no fight in them at all. 54 minutes in then, quiet for the first 10 minutes of the first half, second half, sorry. For half decent attack from both sides went to Brighton with that man Shalotto again down the right wing. Maybe my thinking at this point was maybe there's a sub needed, taking Iwobi off because he wasn't offering anything defensive or forward for that matter, to give Kolasinac some help. Anyway, an awkward cross for Cech to tip it over the bar. Poor delivery from the corner, ended up at the edge of the box where Knockaert put the ball into row Z. Moving forward in a little bit in time now, Arsenal seem to have slowly woken up, putting some passes together in Brighton's half, and a couple of shots from outside the box, coming from Ozil, which forced a good save from Matthew Ryan in the goal, because the ball was swerving all over the place, so he did make a good save. Arsenal really were piling on some pressure over the next few minutes with a big penalty shout. And on the first look, it looked like a penalty to me. But having a look at the replay, you can clearly see Xhaka wasn't touched at all. So a bit of a pathetic attempt to get an equalising goal from a penalty. But nonetheless, Arsenal continued to pile on the pressure. 60 minutes in, Arsenal received a free kick just outside the box, outside Brighton's box, where Xhaka hits one. It trickles into the wall, which really summed up his performance in the match so far. And again, for the next 5 minutes onwards, it's all Arsenal. It all looked very encouraging, but they just couldn't seem to get that final pass to get that equalising goal. Brighton was still trying to counter-attack every now and again, and then an incident happens where Brighton were trying to counter-attack, and Kolasinac and Shalotto having a 50-50 in the air. Shalotto came off a hell of a lot worse. I think he did get knocked unconscious for a brief minute, so medical attention was certainly needed. One thing I did did come back on that was Knockout. He completely embarrassed himself with his reaction. He wasn't anywhere near the actual challenge. Um, so I don't know why he was getting all excited and all that, trying to get in people's faces. It was obviously an accident, clear accident, just coming together of players. Obviously, Shalotto is his teammate. Came off worse. But I was glad to see Shalotto finally got to his feet and managed to get himself off the pitch without the assistance of a stretcher. But obviously, he needed to be subbed off then to ensure no further damage was done to him. I did see him come back out and sit on the sideline, so maybe hopefully it was just a mild concussion or just a bit of a headache. Game restarted again then on 70 minutes. Izquierdo came straight through with a burst of pace, get a nice shot, but it just slid slightly past the post. And then a couple of minutes later, Iwobi again nearly costing Arsenal dearly. Luckily for him, it was Glenn Murray. He passed the ball to. He doesn't have bags of pace. He knew that. Turned back and kept ball instead of trying to run down on the keeper. But you got to think if that had fell to the likes of Izquierdo or Knockout, I'm sure the scoreline at that point would have said 3-1 to Brighton. And then just straight after that, to my surprise, not to my surprise, a little bit too late for my liking, Iwobi was taken off for Danny Welbeck. Moving forward, Brighton again slightly on top since the game restarted after the Shalotto injury, and again we saw Knockout throw his dummy out of the pram because he was taken off, substituted for Solly March. I understand the frustration, however, he was having a good game, but kicking chairs and throwing his tracksuit top into the stand, again, he's laughable. He is meant to be a professional at the end of the day. If I did that at my place of work, my manager asked me, "Oh, can you do this?" I said no, had an absolute meltdown. I don't think I'd be working there the next day. So, it's simple as that. So he needs to sort his professional attitude out. Coming into the final 10 minutes, Arsenal had managed to subdue the attacks coming from Brighton. Interesting changes though came from Wenger in the 82nd minute with Bellerin coming on, Chambers going off, and a youngster coming on, Nketiah for Mkhitaryan. And then after that, Arsenal continued to pressurise Brighton, with Brighton unable to keep hold of the ball. With 7 added minutes time, Arsenal did look like them were going to get an equaliser, but Brighton fought and defended really well. Probably the best defensive performance they have put out this season. And in the last few seconds, Brighton could have had their third of the day again. But Czech reacted quick to this one, reacted quick to the run of Izquierdo. And that was the end of the game. So realistically, Arsenal left it too late. Wenger's substitutions, I think, were also too late. Maybe he's just slowed down. He's not a bad manager, but maybe he's just slowed down a bit. Man of the match today for me, I know it was presented to Glenn Murray, but this was a difficult one for me because Brighton played really well as a team. No real standout performance. They were all just one unit today. So my man of the match would have to go to Jack Wilshere because he was the only one trying to inspire anything for Arsenal. For me, Arsenal are a complete shambles defensively, and they do have a few players that just don't make the cut, in my opinion. However, I have to say, Brighton have a very well-deserved win today. 3 points to bag, and it looks like they are all but safe officially. So yeah, that's my post-match review of the game. If you like the video, please click the button like. Please subscribe because I will be doing these as many as I can. We'll be covering the World Cup, also as many games as I can do there. yeah, if you dislike, let me know. Leave a comment. Tell me what you don't like about these videos, and we'll have a look at what we can do. Right, guys, Rum Runner, and we'll hopefully see you soon.